The classic best price objection, yes. So generally there's 4 different ways to overcome objections that we teach. One is disarm, second is positive stroke redirect, third is the formula approach, and finally you've got word tracks and phrases. But let me ask you this, why do objections come up in the first place? Often it's because people are interested. They're interested to get more information. See, a lot of salespeople take objections as a negative, but if you think about a time, if you've sold before and you've worked with a customer for an hour or two and there's been 0 objections, and let's say you sold the car, A, how often does that happen? And B, when it does happen, what usually happens afterwards? Often there's all sorts of problems, the deal can fall over, and lots of things go wrong. So we actually want objections firstly. The second thing that I think is super important to note is that, is it really about the money? And what I mean by that is, we've got prestige clients, for example, that are asking, the customers are still saying, what's your best price? But if it was purely about the money, would the customer be looking at a prestige vehicle? Of course not. So it's actually not primarily about the money in most cases. But I understand from a sales perspective why they think it is, because they hear it all day long. What's your best price? What's your best price? What's your best price? But the first thing to really understand is it's not about the money, or that's not the primary objection anyway. So we tend to lead towards the second example of positive stroke and redirect for this. And remember I said there's 4 different ways we handle objections. So positive stroke and redirect is when you get an objection, let's say it's best price, is often we get defensive, or often we'll try and close the sale. But if that's happening really on in the interaction with the customer, then we might be trying to close something that's not closable. So the best thing to do, or one of the best strategies, is to what I call positive stroke their inquiry. So that could be when they say, what's your best price? A positive stroke, as an example, could be, I'm glad you asked me that. Like, you're not, but it's way better than getting defensive. Like, they say, what's your best price? And you go, oh, how much will you pay? Or if I could do it for $1, would you buy it? Like, we get reactive. So by responding with a positive stroke such as, I'm glad you asked me that, it gives you a little bit of time to think about how to redirect the conversation. And generally, especially when it's early on in the interaction, I would redirect to the qualifying. What am I talking about? So, what's your best price? I'm glad you asked me that, Mrs. Jones. Do you mind if I ask you, are you trading in a vehicle? And if they answer yes, then now you start talking about the trade-in and you're back into the road to the sale and you've got away from the best price. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's helpful. Whilst we're doing this improved dealership performance series, I highly encourage you to ask a lot of questions. If you simply put hashtag Ask Adrian in the comments below, we'll be in touch. And if you've got a question around performance, it could be sales, could be management, could be service, could even be finance, anything that's performance based, not technical, not product, but anything that can help you in reference to the performance in your role or your team's role. If you have one, simply put hashtag Ask Adrian below and we'll be in touch.